Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu and I'm back with another Digi Finance video. So today I'm going to be taking a look at BT04, and BT04 is finally being released. So we now have a whole bunch of sellers just flooding the market with all of their stock and all of their quantities. And as a result, it's basically doing almost exactly as I expected. Actually, it's doing a little bit better / worse than I expected, just because the pull rates we already knew were super generous, so it is going to be relatively easy to pull any given SR in the set. So as a result, they're not going to hold that much value. And I've been on the record, and you could go to my previous videos and take a look and see that I was correct on calling that a lot of the prices of the cards would fall. I just didn't expect them to fall this much. So previously, I warned people, for the most part, not to buy into pre-order price hype, just because a lot of the singles were overpriced on pre-sale. So we could get an estimate of the price difference between what the card is selling at right now and what the lowest selling listing is, on top of what the market value was. So for the most part, as of right now, the market value is mainly comprised of what the card was doing during pre-sale, and obviously the lowest selling listing is what the card is going to be going for right now as the cheapest version. So every single card in the set did take a downward tick in terms of what it was doing at pre-sale and what it's doing currently at launch. So just giving it a quick scroll by here, this is by market value of high to low. So we could definitely see that a lot of the alt arts are going to be the ones that are doing the best and performing the best. So that's where the majority of the money in the set is going to be. And a lot of the normal SRs definitely have been on a huge downward spiral. So they are definitely not doing as well as they could be doing, and the box toppers, for the most part, are holding their own, surprisingly enough. So, like I said before, the alt arts and good supers and secrets is going to be where all of the money is at in the set. But if we continue to look at what the rest of the set is doing past that first page, it is not looking super good. I think like the average SR value is probably around $8–9 based on everything that we're seeing right here, and it is an absolute bloodbath compared to what cards we're doing at pre-sale. So this goes into like why I keep saying do not buy cards at pre-sale, because a lot of the cards are overpriced, overhyped, and like they will come down with more stock and quantity, and we definitely can see that here. So as an example, Chaosmon pre-sale was selling for about $15. Now he's $3. So that's a huge percentage difference on what the price of the card was compared to what it is now. And the only difference is the amount of sellers listing, and the pre-sale price tag is gone. So this goes into like why I keep saying do not buy most cards on pre-sale. Even like going back to the first page, we saw that Yellow War Greymon was pre-selling for like $40–45. Well, he's about half that, and same thing with Chaosmon Volderarm. He's about half that as well. The only cards that really weren't affected too badly were a lot of the alt art cards, just because the alt art cards are harder to pull, and they're going to have a lot more demand because they are the pretty looking cards, and people who want to max rarity their deck or collect the high rarity cards will definitely want these cards. So with all that in mind, it looks like the vast majority of the like normal base rarity cards had a huge downward spiral of at least 50+% in terms of what their market value was at pre-sale. So just sorting and organizing the cards based on their rarity, looking at the SRs, like I said, the alt arts is going to be where the money is at. Obviously, the two best SRs in the set is going to be Chaosmon Volderarm and War Grey. So as a result, they have the highest price tag. But looking at the vast majority of the other cards, everything is like sub $10 except for some of the other alt arts, which is like good as a player perspective, because that means you could easily get whatever card you want just by buying it. But it's really bad if you're buying sealed product and looking to flip it, because that just means that you have a lower chance of actually making your money back because the cards aren't holding as much value. So we can see there is a ton of listers, and a ton of sellers for a lot of these cards, and there's just a lot more overall stock than what I think a lot of people were expecting, and I kind of was expecting a relatively high stock and low prices, but I wasn't expecting the pull rate to be this generous when it was, so it's kind of like creating this perfect storm on making a lot of the cards not have as much value as they normally would. But then again, looking back at Special Booster 1.0 and 1.5, once that hype started to die down and there was just more overall stock in the secondary market, this is kind of just like what the cards ended up doing anyway. So the cards tanked to a normal market price a lot faster than I would have expected. I would have expected things to like be a little bit on the crazy side within the first week to 2 weeks, maybe if the set was lucky in the first month. But the fact that the set doesn't have as much value definitely is a little bit worrisome in terms of buying the sealed product to try to sell. So looking at the price of the sealed product, it's definitely looking like the sealed price product is overpriced as expected. So if you are buying a booster box anything more than 110, then you are definitely in a high-risk situation of not even breaking even on your box just because the box EV is on the lower side. And I definitely would not even consider buying a case for 2K just because, again, same reason, the boxes aren't holding as much value just because the singles are really easy to pull, therefore they have a lot lower of a value, and there's just a lot of overall stock and quantity in the secondary market, contributing to why the price is so low. So here I created a spreadsheet to kind of calculate the box's EV using some rudimentary math. This isn't exactly exact on how to calculate the box EV. This was just, again, a very basic idea to understand how much a booster box is generally worth. So what I did was I have technically three columns here, where this column right here is calculating the average price of all of the SRs in the set to spit out this number, which is looking to be about $8. So you could expect your average SR to cost about $8, and then you are likely to see an average of 8 of them in a booster box, so you just multiply that by 8 to get this number, and then I did the exact same thing with secrets and alt arts in this column right here. So the average of them, because they do end up sharing the same slot more often than not, is going to be around $36. Then times that by 2, because you're going to be seeing 2 per box. You'll end up with this number right here. So you just basically combine the numbers and take the average and add the box topper average to it to end up spitting out the box EV, which is looking to be around 148, which seems pretty decent, but because the booster boxes are selling just slightly under that, you're actually more prone not to make your box's value, just because of how pulling booster boxes work. And like I said before, this math isn't exact because if I was doing it more precisely, then I would probably be calculating the secrets and alt arts separately. And then on top of that, I would be doing a little bit more math in terms of like seeding and a whole bunch more calculations. So again, this is just a very rough rudimentary value. But like I said, I think like the majority of the boxes that I see, like going back and actually calculating their value, a lot of them ended up being around that 100 to 115 range. So again, you are more prone to actually lose on your booster box more often than you're likely to win on it. But again, there is that chance where you just high roll and you are able to pull like the Alt Art Lucimon, and that's going to make the majority of the value of the booster box on top of all of the SRs. But like I said, you could just whiff on all of the SRs, you could just whiff on all of the secrets and alt arts, and then you can just feel very, very bad and you'd feel very silly for buying that booster box and have some buyer's remorse. So that's why like buying booster boxes is a little bit on the risky side, especially at these high of prices. So I definitely think as a result, with the singles being the way they are, the booster boxes should definitely be lower in price than what they are. And going forward, they probably can't necessarily sustain an over $100 value. Not saying that the singles won't make that happen, but I'm saying like stores shouldn't be selling the booster boxes for over what the pack MSRP is, just because of how easy it is to pull a lot of the cards. So based on what we know with BT04, we could probably extend this to BT05 and beyond, just because there's not really a huge reason why they would change a lot of their pull rates, considering it's very accessible for a lot of the players to get a lot of the cards, so they don't necessarily care about the secondary market value. And as a seller, the scary thing is this is just on release in terms of what the cards are doing, and they're already hitting these low of prices, considering it took a lot longer for 1.0 and 1.5 to stabilize to hit this level of pricing. So with more time, more people getting their product, and more product being opened, these prices are actually going to continue to fall. And especially since we know that there is going to be a restock wave coming in the next month, there's just going to be a lot more of these cards on the secondary market, and as we saw with 1.0 and 1.5, that new wave of cards that definitely influenced a lot of the cards to drop in price dramatically, just because there was more stock than there was demand. So as a result, the prices just continued to fall. So I would say now is a pretty decent time to buy, considering the prices are already as low as they are. But if you want to ensure that you're going to get the best prices for your singles, I'd probably say wait about a week or two, because single sellers like myself have yet to even get the stock and have yet to open and list it on TCG Player. So there's going to be even more overall stock entering as other people like myself get and open cards to sell on TCG Player. So about a week or two is when the cards are probably going to be at their lowest for a while, and then they'll probably have another huge drop when the restock wave happens. I don't know exactly how large the restock wave is going to be, but the fact that there's going to be more of these cards entering the secondary market definitely means that they'll only continue to fall in price. Especially since the meta is also going to be changing in about 2 months. So we only have like maybe 6 weeks of this meta before it changes with BT05 coming. So definitely get these while you can, and definitely don't feel like you need to overpay for them, just because a lot of the cards, like you could see here, are relatively affordable, just because there's just a whole bunch of stock listing, and there's going to be more stock coming. But what really adds to the value of the booster box overall is going to be the promos that you're supposed to be getting with the booster box. So the only reason why you would ever want to buy a booster box is if you are getting both your dash packs and your power-up packs, and that's where actually the majority of the value of your booster box is going to be, if you're able to actually get a booster box with these cards. So the power-up pack cards are all looking to be relatively decent, and you definitely need some of them depending on the type of deck that you're playing. So Lobomon here, as an example, is a really powerful card that makes playing Ancient Garurumon possible, because without Lobomon, it's really hard to play Ancient Garurumon and make that card effective. So as a result, that's going to harm the overall playability of Ancient Garurumon, just because you need the Lobomon promo here in order to play that card as efficiently as you possibly can. So more people, if they don't have the Lobomon promo, will tend to off the Ancient Garurumon card, just because, again, they won't be able to play the deck efficiently without the promo. So that's going to overall harm the set, but as a result, it's going to make the promos a lot more sought after, because once you have the promos, then you could pick up those singles for rather cheap, just because, again, people are looking to off them because they can't play the deck because they don't have the promos. And this is the same with all of the power-up promos, except for like the Gatomon, just because you don't really need the Gatomon to play Mastimon, but Gatomon definitely helps play Mastimon, and Gatomon is still just a really good card. But like I said, a lot of the cards that are having very powerful decks and you need specific cards for, these are the ones that are going to hold the higher price tag. So Lobomon, Devimon, Palmon, Agunimon, and Sunorizumon are definitely the hot 5, and like I said, Gatomon is the odd one out of the power-up pack. But the fact that a lot of these are holding a relatively decent price, it just eats away at a lot of the box's value, and that's why like buying a booster box without the power-up packs and the dash packs just feels a little on the bad side. And the dash packs kind of are in the same type of boat, where it's like they have some very powerful things going on with them, but you don't necessarily need these cards. And on top of which, these cards are going to be easier to obtain overall than the power-up cards, because the power-up cards you're only given 1 per booster box, where the dash packs you're given 2 per booster box, and you're also given 1 per 2 starter decks. So the overall quantity of the dash packs is going to be a lot higher, so as a result they are definitely holding a lot lower value, on top of which it's a lot easier to pull any given card from the dash pack than it is from the power-up pack. So it'll be easier to complete a playset of dash pack cards rather than power-up pack cards, and that factor is also contributing to their overall value. So mathematically, what I calculated is in one case. So if you're buying a case and you're getting both your dash packs and your power-up packs, you'll have about 3 playsets of the dash pack cards, and you'll have 1 playset of each of the power-up cards. So keep in mind the power-up packet does have 2 cards in it, 1 foil, 1 non-foil, but I digress, and the fact that it's still just going to be overall harder to get power-up pack cards versus dash pack cards definitely makes the power-up cards more sought after and more valuable, especially since these have a lot more decks that they interact with rather than the dash pack cards. And even then, like I said, it's just a mathematical average that you're going to be seeing 1 playset per case, so it could turn out that you might not even get a full playset of the power-up cards per case, and then it just feels really, really bad. But again, mathematical averages versus reality are 2 different things. So once I get my case of BT04 in, I'm definitely going to be opening it up on live stream over on twitch.tv/Zenitsu. So feel free to leave a follow, and I'll definitely post a community post on when I'm going to be streaming my case opening. So feel free to hop on in and just chill with me as I'm going to be opening my case when I get it. And hopefully I get it sooner rather than later, so that way I can contribute to the secondary market and I can at least try to break even on the set, because the set is definitely looking like, even though it is a really powerful and popular set, the singles aren't necessarily going to be holding long-term value outside of a select few. So that's all I really have for this video. As always, feel free to tell me your thoughts down in the comments below, and down in the description below are different ways that you could support me in the channel. So one of those ways is I do have a TCG Player affiliate link, so whenever you use that affiliate link to buy cards off of tcgplayer.com, then some of the money will go to supporting me in the channel. And on top of which, I also do stream over on twitch.tv/Zenitsu. So following and subbing is a good way to support me over on that platform as well. And on top of that, I also do make and sell playmats over on Overcard Gamers on Facebook. So whenever you buy one of my designs through them, then some of that money will also help go to supporting me in the channel. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.